Good day. Welcome back to Live Well with aromatherapist Jerby Ko. So for today, we will be having someone from cosmetic to cosmic beauty. Mika Schröder or Mika originally came from the hair cosmetics before she found her passion in yoga. Nearly 20 years of experience in the field of external beauty, of which she worked 10 years for L'Oreal. Since 2005, Mika is practicing Hatha Yoga. At first, she saw yoga more as a counterbalance to her athletic involvement in gym, CrossFit, swimming, or running until she discovered that yoga can mean more. Today, her daily yoga practice is her base form, which she draws her energy and recharges strength for all the adventures of life. Mika has completed her yoga teacher training in Bali and India and is certified with more than 800 hours and Yoga Alliance registered. In the past few years, Mika invested a lot of time and energy to study the female anatomy, cyclical living, and became a hormone yoga therapist. She taught in Bali, Gili Trawangan, Germany, Spain, India, Cambodia, and Malaysia under her first label Mika Yoga. At the Vagabond Temple in Cambodia, she and her ex-partner worked and lived together before they decided to open their own yoga retreat center. In 2018, a future hippie was born in Koh Samui, Thailand. Due to the pandemic and personal changes, Mika is now living on the beautiful Koh Phangan, also in Thailand, and teaches yoga online and in person. Everybody, please welcome Mika Schröder.
How are you doing?
Hi, Mika. How are you? I'm good.
Good. Me too. Yes. It's early morning, or not early mornings, but it's 10 a.m. here on Ibiza, and for you it must be afternoon, isn't it?
That's right. I'm so jealous you're in Ibiza.
It's beautiful, actually. It's really nice. Nice, beautiful weather. Not too hot, not too cold. Yeah, it's summer. It's starting to kick off. It's the best time to go, actually.
Oh my gosh, I can just imagine. All right, so before anything else, would you like to please tell us how did you find yourself? I understand that you are from L'Oreal. You were in the corporate world. How did you find yourself right now in this kind of space, in the natural wellness space?
Oh my God, this is it's actually a really long story, but to make to wrap it up, I would say I really had enough of working for the cosmetic industry, but knowing that I had a good time there also. And it was, I think one of my yoga teachers, he once said, from cosmetic to cosmic beauty. And I think this is what it describes it very well. As I was just more interested what goes on inside of us, and what yoga can do for us, and not just putting makeup and things on ourselves just to look more pretty from the outside. So I guess it was time for a big change.
Amazing. What struck me with your profile is that you are really focused on female balance. And I think that's very important, especially for the past 2 years. A lot of us are really cooped up in our rooms, in our homes. And as we all know, stress can be really a trigger to all of these imbalances and also inflammations and all of our sicknesses, right? So let's talk about female balance. How did you discover that yoga can actually support our cycle balance?
Mm. Let me start the other way around and answer a question how yoga would not balance the hormones, because what we need to understand is that yoga wasn't developed for women. Even though nowadays it's the total opposite, the yoga studios are packed with women, but yoga was developed for men's bodies. So if we step as a woman in the vigorous practices like Ashtanga, power flow, like strong vinyasa flows, and we completely neglect the rhythm of our cycle and the way how we feel and our body works, then this can has a tremendous effect on our hormones in the negative way. So yoga is amazing and yoga is helpful for our hormones, but do it in moderation and sync with your cycle. And if we understand our cycle, there's so much gold in there. And then you will learn, on which days you can go to the strong and powerful classes and you can sweat it out and you can give yourself a little boost with this. And on other days, it requires a really gentle flow, or maybe just a restorative class or a yin yoga class.
Wow. I mean, I never knew that yoga was actually developed for men, but that's really interesting.
Yeah.
You were telling me about doing it in a moderate way. What is the right frequency of yoga that we have to do for it to be effective in balancing a woman's cycle?
So, I'm a big fan of keeping everything in balance and moderation. I also love to go to the gym and to go for a run. I like to swim. So, but my yoga practice is something I do on a daily basis. To be fair enough, this is my job, so I have more time. Yeah, if I break it down for someone, one of my students, and they say, Mika, I just have, let's say per week, I have 4 hours of time which I can dedicate to any kind of movement, then I would work with this. For me, this is a lot more. So I would say I might have maybe 12 hours of sport per week, which includes yoga. And then I can break it down and I could say, okay, 50% goes down to my yoga practice, which can be more gentle if I'm in the second phase of my cycle, or a bit more vigorous and strong if I'm in the first phase of my cycle. And then I would add weight training. I would go for a run accordingly to my cycle and what's my physical need during that time.
Good point you did there, right? Like, I know a lot of our audience here are urban dwellers. They might not have that chance or opportunity to have that much time in, I guess, focusing on movement. But for a normal, for example, person who has a job from 9 to 5, for example, is 3 times a week okay? 30 minutes a day okay? Or should it be 1 hour?
Yeah, I would say do something every day if that's possible. And if you have a 9 to 5 job, then just get up a little earlier and do 30 minutes in the morning every day. And then 1 day per week, you're just resting and you're not doing anything. If you can do this, then your body's going to love you and your hormones going to love you. That's everything you need to do. I know some people they love extremes, and then they go for a 2-hour high intensity class, but then they're going to they're going to push themselves just way too much. And then on other days, they're just hangover and they're resting and they're not doing anything. So doing something on a regular basis is a lot more healthy than pushing yourself once and not doing anything for the rest of the week.
Wonderful. Mika, would you please tell us more about hormone yoga therapy? Is this something that you've developed yourself through your studies?
I'm a yoga teacher since 8 years now, and I'm teaching Hatha, Vinyasa, Yin yoga, and Fascia yoga. This is wonderful, and it's great, but it doesn't work necessarily on our endocrine system. And then I came across the founder of hormone yoga therapy. Her name is Dina Rodriguez. She is a Brazilian woman, and she's unbelievable, 95. Yeah, just turned 95.
Wow.
Still teaching, still working. It's amazing. And she designed hormone yoga therapy for women around 30 years ago, so a long time ago already. But she started this for women in menopause and perimenopause. And then later on, she found out that hormone yoga therapy is also amazing for women who have issues with fertility, with PMS or irregular cycle or endometriosis. So everything which has the cause of unbalanced hormones can help with hormone yoga therapy. It's a set sequence, so designed yoga asanas, yoga postures, which you practice in a row. And they are like the dynamic form of hatha yoga practices, you can say. and we breathe in a certain way. We breathe with Bastrika pranayam. So if you're familiar with yoga, you know this is a very forceful way of breathing, like fast breathing in and out into the belly. And then we do a circulation of energy, which is a Tibetan technique to push the endocrine system, specifically our ovaries, our thyroid, and our hypophysis, or some people call it the pituitary gland in our brain. I know that's a lot of information right now, but so you're going to learn these sequence and these practices in workshops with me or other people who are certified to teach hormone yoga therapy. In workshops that can be for a weekend long, or some people do 1 day week workshops, and then you're able to practice this sequence by yourself. And if you're a bit more experienced, you just need around 30 minutes per day. That's basically it. And you're able then to bring your hormones to a balanced state without the need of taking medication.
Wow, that sounds amazing. I've never realized yoga can be that powerful. I assume this hormone yoga therapy also works with girls who has PCOS.
Yes, yeah. Actually, I have a very mild state of PCOS, and I had irregular cycles like all my years long. I took birth control for way too long. I can tell you, almost 20 years. I'm 40 years now. And so when I stopped taking birth control, I didn't become my period again. So it was just gone for 2.5, almost 3 years. And then they found out, because if you take the birth control, you never really know what's actually happening in your natural state, that I have the tendency for PCOS. And then starting with hormone yoga therapy, I now have a regular cycle. I have way less PMS than I used to have. And I have a healthy ovulation. I feel my ovulation, and a healthy menstruation.
Wow. Oh my gosh. I also have PCOS. So
Do you?
yes, and maybe same like you, it's mild. I don't have the physical manifestations of it. So my doctor was actually surprised that I have PCOS. But when I was telling her my female cycle situation, the things that I thought were normal growing up, she was telling me, "Oh no, that's not normal. You're actually overbleeding. My cycle is normally 10 days." And she told me that that's too much. And I was telling her, "Oh, when I was a teenager growing up, I thought that was normal."
And how long is your whole cycle then?
I started, but I stopped taking birth control pills. I started taking it when maybe 11 years ago, and then I took the pills for about 8 years. And then I saw this research saying that for women who's taking BCP for a long period of time, consistently, like 8 years, it's kind of bad for our liver. It also triggers tumor growth on a woman's liver. So I stopped because I got scared. And since then, luckily, I feel that my cycle is still okay, even if I'm not taking pills anymore. My cycle still comes every month, albeit it's shorter. So it's about 5 days now. It has gone to normal, but I've also done a lot of lifestyle changes, dietary changes as well. And I also do a little yoga, not as consistently as you, but I try.
Well, to be fair enough, it's my job too. So I think that's different. For the length of your menstruation, so everything in between 2 to 7 days is quite normal and considered as healthy. Woman has just really a light spotting for a day. This is not enough. And everything above a week, it's also not really a healthy state. Then you should get a checkup, definitely. But the length of your cycle is also important to check as a woman. So the length of the cycle includes the days of our menstruation. The first day of our cycle is always the first day of our bleeding. And then you count until the last day of your cycle before you start bleeding again. And there we say everything between 21 and around 40 days is normal. You always see when you Google menstruation that everyone says 28 days. bam, like clockwork. But this is not the case. So as women, we are just so different. We have different length of menstruation, different length of cycle. So everything in between this window from 21 to 40 days is considered to be normal. And it takes time to balance the hormones and to balance the cycle. So if you, as a young woman just starting to bleed, maybe the length of the cycle will be a bit longer because the body is not yet developed. The hormones need to get used to this. And then once we're aging, maybe the cycle shortens or finds its rhythm again. If you stop taking birth control or you're on IVF or anything else, you're giving birth, everything needs time to adapt again to the new situation. And then, as you already said, stress, for example, is killer number one for our hormones. And it's so common, yeah. We just take it as a normal thing that everyone has stress in the life, but it's not normal and it's not healthy. We're stressing ourselves on a day-to-day base, but then we expect that our body works as normal. And if it doesn't, then we start to complain and we run to see the next doctor and say, something is wrong with me. But no, nothing is wrong with you. Actually, the body is just showing you a symptom to tell you, hey, girl, you better watch out for yourself because something isn't right here. Yeah,
That's true. Yeah, that's really nice that you mentioned that. I was wondering, Mika, like over the past 2 years, because of the pandemic, have you seen a trend that women are having more irregularities?
You mean like talking about the vaccination or just the stress level?
Yes, the vaccination included.
The vaccination included. Yes and no. I think it's always where you put your attention, you will also get the feedback accordingly. There are no real studies. And I have to say, I am vaccinated. It took a long time for me to find out if I really want to do it or not. And then once I had the second shot, the vaccination, my bleeding was so strong and I was in so much pain that I was in bed for a whole day. And then I went to this webpage. It was a Pfizer vaccination. And I gave feedback to this. So I sent them an email and it's like, maybe this is important for you to know if you're collecting feedback or so, but this has happened to me. And I know a few friends too. So I think the studies are not there yet that we can see what kind of effect it definitely has. I asked around and some women were affected, some were not at all. I can just talk from a personal experience. It did affect my cycle. Other women said they had no cycle for 2 months. They just stopped bleeding completely. So I think everything will definitely has an effect on us, whatever we put in our bodies, but also the way how we are thinking about it. So if you're really stressed out about getting this vaccination, then the stress level might have more impact on your system than the actual fact what is inside of the vaccination. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
It's hard to say, and I think we're not there yet, and maybe we will never find the answers because the research and the study maybe doesn't reach out to us as maybe we should not know about the facts or so. My personal opinion is it does has an effect on us, but then you have to make your own decision what's more important for you to take the vax or not. And if you're living on a very tiny island and you're hardly to leave this island forever, I think I would not have the vaccination. But as I'm traveling a lot, it was just a no-brainer to do it.
I'm not sure if in Thailand it's mandatory for the people there to take the vaccine.
They try to make it mandatory, but it's not. No, and in fact, I'm living on a very small island in Koh Phangan, And I have loads of friends who are not vaccinated, and they try everything not to do. So there is a chance to stay unvaccinated if you really want to.
I see. Here in the Philippines, they've already rolled out having the second booster. So yeah, I've had my Pfizer first set, and then I had Moderna as my booster. Luckily, I feel that my cycle is still normal. I haven't seen any changes.
Okay.
But like I have a sister who also has PCOS, and I think she has like a more severe case because she has the physical manifestations like thicker bodily hair.
Oh.
Do you have any advice on how women can initiate their flow using the hormone yoga therapy?
Yeah. Okay, so let's go through a few steps to work on hormonal balance. Of course, as I'm a hormone yoga therapist, I would love everyone to practice hormone yoga if that's possible for the person. So that would be case number one. Or to say movement, like any kind of exercise, which is exciting for you. So it should be fun, right? So don't go into the gym if you hate the gym. Just do something which lights you up. If you like to go for a walk or for a run, do that. If you like sports with friends, like group stuff, then go for those kinds of things. Just do movement. Or if it's dancing, just stay moving your body. This is really important for our hormonal health. So this is key number one, to say movement. The second one is sleep. Make sure you have enough sleep. And I know people who say, oh, I'm so used to just sleep 5 hours a day. This is not enough. This is definitely not enough. So we should have 7 to 8 hours of sleep every day to be relaxed, to give the body the time to let all of the systems regenerate and work efficiently for the next days. We need that time of rest. And a healthy sleep is a not disrupted sleep, meaning you're not waking up, you're not having night sweats, you're feeling refreshed and alert when you wake up. So you're ready to start the day. This is how we should wake up every day, and not waking up fully exhausted. If this is you want to check your sleep routines to make sure that you're going to work on healthy hormones. So the second one is sleep. The third one is checking what you eat. So the diet plays a huge role. And I know, especially in this, with the social pressure we have to look good and to fulfill a certain body picture, depending on what trend we have right now. If it's more a big booty or a smaller one or whatever, we all pressure of we need to fulfill a certain role. And then we have certain trends we follow the way we eat. Just eating normal and balanced, making sure you have enough carbs, you have enough protein, and you have enough fat in your diet. I'm a vegan by myself, and I'm vegan since many years. And I just I started eating eggs, I think 10 months ago again. And with that fact, it took me a long while to convince myself, you could believe me, it was really a hard negotiation with myself. Like, what am I doing to get more protein? And I had this craving of more protein and more eggs. And sometimes it's hard as a vegan to get enough protein. And now I started eating eggs again. And also that helped me to balance my cycle again. I'm feeling a lot stronger. I'm feeling a lot more refreshed and fit. So making sure to have enough, all of them, and also enough food. So do not starve. I know this trend of like, oh, I would like to be skinny and to look great. And so, but you need to eat. Yeah, so don't go into a trend, for example, any fasting diets or even intermittent fasting. They can be great for some women, but if you have PCOS, for example, or if you want to become pregnant, then you should definitely not practice intermittent fasting. What happens if we are fasting, or if we're not giving enough nutrition to our body, is that the hypothalamus in our brain doesn't think that we are in a relaxed state. In fact, the opposite happens. The hypothalamus thinks there's a dangerous situation right now. And the body is so clever, yeah? So if the body thinks, the hypothalamus is kind of like a master gland. It sits above all of the other ones. And it monitors everything. And it tells the other glands, like, listen, guys, there is a dangerous situation right now. Maybe we should not plan on reproduction right now because she's not even able to take care of herself. And if you see this as quite of this master gland and piece of taking care that reproduction or having a baby wouldn't be safe right now, then it's super, super clever, right? If we're not giving our own body enough nutrition, how can we make sure that a newborn or a baby in our belly will get enough nutrition? And the first thing the body will shut down is the reproduction. Yeah, we have so many different systems in our body, from digestion to the fascial system, the muscular system. What else? Our nervous system, a big one, yeah? The respiration. So, and things like the digestion, the respiration, these are things to stay alive and to stay, healthy and fit the whole time. But the first thing which always will be shut down is the reproduction, as this is the last important system. Yeah, we can definitely survive without reproduction. So the body will not produce the hormones we need for reproduction, which is then a lack of estrogen, a lack of FSH, which is follicle stimulating hormone, and also LH, luteinizing hormone. Maybe all of them will be on a lower level, and then we won't have an ovulation. And if we won't have an ovulation, there won't be menstruation. So, yeah, one leads to the other. The whole system works hand in hand together. And just seeing this, making sure that everything has an effect what you do. Yeah, if you decide now not to eat for a week, this will have an effect on your body. Yes, you will lose weight. You will have other health benefits, but also you're going to interrupt your hormonal cycle. That's just a fact. I hope that answers a little bit your question already.
Yeah, I can see the domino effect. And I understand that for a female or for a woman to conceive, there is a needed amount of fat in the body.
Yeah. So important is not being stressed and having a healthy weight, a healthy body weight. So meaning depending, of course, on the height and everything, and the body mass index. But yes, we need some fat to be able to get pregnant, but we should also not be overweight. Yeah, so a healthy weight needs to be established to become pregnant. And even more important, this is something we really don't speak about in this society, is to stay pregnant. And I know too many women who got pregnant and they lost the baby. It has different root causes, of course. For some, it's stress. For some, it's lack of progesterone. For some, is exercising too much or being concerned about the situation. Maybe it's an effect of the diet. But one thing is to become pregnant, but then the other is also you want to deliver a healthy baby, right? And to be able to have a healthy pregnancy, it requires a few things. One more thing I would recommend women to balance their hormones is definitely to have breakfast.
Good advice.
That is a massive game changer. It did do a lot of good things for me. And that's very personal what I share, because I like to share my experience, and then I can definitely give advice on this. On other things, I can't give advice because I've never been there, or I've just heard from it, or I studied it. But I'm a very active woman, and I love sport. I never had problems with diet, but what I did, I always connected food and working out. And I know that many women doing this. So in my mind, I had this imprint: if I didn't do enough physical exercise, I wouldn't eat that much. The other way around, if I had a hard workout, if I really was exhausted, I would allow myself a big meal, a big lunch and a treat or a cake or a cookie or whatever, right? So connecting the feeling of food and exercise and seeing food as a reward can be really unhealthy. And nowadays, I'm doing it different. I'm giving my body the right nutrition to be able to work out and to perform, because the body is kind of a machine. If you put in the wrong fuel, it won't work. If you don't put any fuel into it, it won't work either. So making sure that if you, let's say for this morning, for example, I was planning to have a workout for half an hour, and I was training just basically my legs. Yeah, just with some free weights I had with me here. And I was doing a half an hour workout. And before this half an hour workout, I had a small banana. That was it. But having something before you're starting to work out, or even before a strong yoga class, will definitely help you to balance your hormones naturally. Yeah, do not starve before working out. And then, of course, afterwards you have shower and everything. But as soon as possible, you want to have then a really good breakfast, which requires a lot of protein. Yeah, especially if you are an active woman, you need protein in the early mornings to be able to go through the rest of the day and to give back to the body what you just asked for, and that the muscle starts to grow and to work efficiently. With muscle grow, don't think of big muscles. Yeah, I know this is a podcast and audio. You don't see a picture of me, but if you maybe follow me on Instagram, you will see pictures of me, and I'm not having this big bulky muscle packs. Yeah, it's just a healthy amount of muscles to be able to live my life. Yeah. Okay, so I think just to wrap it up again, so sleep is important. Diet is important, having breakfast is important, and exercising enough. And the last and the biggest key, of course, is reducing stress wherever you can in your life. If you do a bit in all of these different key spots, then you will be able to balance your hormones. No one's going to be perfect, for sure not. And I have days where I'm absolutely stressed. When I'm traveling, this is a huge stress factor for the hormones, but it is like it is. Yeah, some things I just can't change, and then I have to do other things to make sure to rest again afterwards, or to have a good meal to tell my body everything is all right, everything is safe. Keeping everything in balance.
Wonderful. So, Mika, aside from yoga, I know that you're also into Ayurveda. Could you please share with us, how do you use your knowledge about this practice, Ayurveda, to support your female balance?
I'm not an Ayurveda coach, and I don't have an Ayurvedic education. I'm working with a really good friend together. Her name is Stephanie. And Stephanie is an educated Ayurvedic coach. And together we created a course which was called The Feminine Flow. And Stephanie and me, we connected a few years ago. And I explain what I'm doing. And then she's like, oh, this is really interesting. Talking from an Ayurvedic perspective, this is like this and this is like that. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing, because I had all of this knowledge about the physical part, the hormone part, and the yoga practice, and like breathing techniques and meditation. But I always missed out on the nutrition fact. And working with her just really opened my eyes, especially when we are looking at the different phases of our cycle. I don't know if you or maybe all of your listeners are familiar with the inner seasons. This is how we call the different steps of our cycle. I could speak about this like 5 hours, but we don't have the time. I just try to explain it quickly that everyone has a brief understanding about this. Mm-hmm. So if our cycle is 28 days long, we're going to divide this cycle in 4 different phases, similar like we would divide it in a year. So the phase of our menstruation is called the inner winter time. Yeah, from day number 1 of our cycle to roughly day number 6 or 7. And then from the inner winter phase, we go into our inner springtime. And the inner springtime is when we're coming out of menstruation and the body produces, again, estrogen, FSH, LH, and testosterone. So all of the hormones are starting to grow again like a little flower, like it would be in springtime. And then we turn, this is also around 6 to 7 days, and then we're going to turn into our inner summer phase. And in inner summers, all of the hormones are having the highest amount. This is the peak time. And during inner summer, we have the ovulation hopefully happening. And the inner summer is like really also like we would imagine the summer time. You're most active, you're outgoing, you're feeling attractive, you're going to turn heads around to guys you never do before, and you're feeling really social also. It's like a very vibrant time. Also the inner spring, yeah. Inner spring and summer are quite nice and outgoing, very social, very active times. And then after ovulation, when there's no pregnancy, so no fertilized egg is happening, we're going to turn into our inner autumn. And inner autumn is starting with the luteal phase. So no pregnancy is going to happening. The estrogen, the LH, the FSH, all of these hormones are going to drop down. But we're going to have the peak of progesterone then. And progesterone starts to soothe everything down. So we will become a little bit slower, a bit more heavy. Everything starts to turn more inward. It's a time of editing. For some women, including me, it can be more a difficult time, especially if you suffer from PMS, as we become a bit picky, yeah? So a bit naggy also sometimes. And this lasts then until the body recognizes, okay, we don't need all of the endometrium anymore. We can release this, and then the menstruation starts. Again, this is when the hormones are on the lowest level. So with these informations and knowing what the body does, together with Stephanie, we designed with this Ayurvedic knowledge, not like a food plan, but just a rough understanding in which phase of your cycle you should eat certain foods or which foods you should avoid. And it's not that complicated. It's really not that complicated, because sometimes Ayurveda can be like very overwhelming and you think like, oh my God, I need to study this for years. But yeah, right? It can be complex. And whenever I have a question, I have to ask her, because as I said, I'm not an Ayurvedic coach, but I love her knowledge and I love to use it whenever I can. So the biggest intake for me from her knowledge was eating warm and cooked food when you are menstruating. This is really important, to nourish the body and to eat easy to digest food. Yeah, sometimes we feel already bloated and we feel heavy when we're menstruating. So you don't want to bring more food which is hard to digest into your body. Yeah, and something which warms up the body. So everything which has warm quality in your inner winter is nice. Already also in your inner autumn. Inner autumn and inner winter are quite equal when it comes to the food. There are loads of different spices and herbs you can additionally take, but that's too much for today. But just looking into like warm curries, or in Ayurveda, I would love a good cooked khichdi for the inner winter time. I would cook a big pot of khichdi if I'm at home, and then just let it sit there and heat it up for 2 days or so. That's amazing. In this first phase of the cycle, in the inner spring and the inner summertime, we are able to digest food a little bit easier. So if you like raw food, like veggies and fruits, this is an easier time that the body is able to digest this. We're not as bloated. We're not going to store salt as much and not water as much as in the second phase of the cycle. And then you can go for a salad, for example, too. Ayurveda is mostly cooked and warm food. Yeah, they're not so much into raw food. But if you like raw food, I would definitely have this more in the first phase of the cycle. What else? In the second phase of the cycle, we also burn more calories, which is quite a fun fact. So if you have these cravings of chocolate or any other food cravings, it's not a big deal, because we're going to burn like 200 to 300 more calories in our second phase of the cycle. In the first phase, make sure you have a well-balanced nutrition, but you can eat lighter. Yeah, we don't need that much food anyway. We are more active and alert anyway, because we get this boost from our hormones naturally. So this is the biggest intake food-wise. And of course, the same goes for, there's a lot of work for the inner seasons. Just some main words to have a rough idea what we're teaching. For the inner winter, it would be more rest, relax, digest, take some time off. For the inner spring, it would be slowly start to rise. Go out there, put on a new dress, try something new, eat light and healthy. For the inner summer, some words would be, this is the go-getter time. Go out, show yourself, get it done. Stay healthy, stay hydrated, push yourself to the limit. In inner autumn, it would be slow down, eat warm, take rest, and don't be too hard on yourself. Yeah.
I love those concepts. Actually, I saw a bit of it on your social media. I was checking your Instagram page, and I was really very interested on all your practices, actually. And I would just like to share, Mika, you know what? Here also in the Philippines, when women would have their period, their cycle, they stay away usually from cold drinks or ice cream. So that's a good practice, right?
Yes, this is amazing. This is absolutely spot on Ayurveda. Whenever I had an iced coffee, my friend Stephanie would freak out and say, don't do this. So yes, this is a good practice. Philippine women definitely need to know what they're doing, what you tell me.
All right. So before we wrap up this episode, I would like you to please take this chance if you have any upcoming events, projects, or programs that you would like to invite our audience with.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm working online and offline. So if you want to meet me in person, then come to Thailand, come to Koh Phangan. This is where I'm teaching mostly in person. But I'm also having a retreat in the north of Thailand in November. If you are one of the happy ones who can take a vacation in November, it is from the 12th to 17th November in Chiang Mai in Thailand. And it's a small women's retreat where we're focusing on hormonal health, but also having loads of fun, having yoga in the morning and the afternoon, some excursions and hot steams, and going to the hot springs also, a vegan cooking class, all of those fun things we do in November. In addition, I'm working online. I have different online programs, and a few new ones are coming out soon. So I will focus again on hormone yoga therapy for the English-speaking ones. As I'm German, I'm also teaching a German version very soon. But I guess all of your listeners that won't speak German, so hang in there for the English version. And then the feminine flow version is also available in German and hopefully soon in English. Yeah, that's what I'm doing mainly. But I would just stay tuned, or maybe follow me on Instagram. You're going to find me there under futurehippie.live. So Future Hippie with IE in the end, and futurehippie.live is also my webpage. My name is Mika. And if you have any questions, I'm really open to all of this. You can also just simply send me a DM or an email, and I'm happy to answer them. Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mika, for enlightening us. It's really a very interesting episode for today.
Yeah, it was very fun, and I hope you and your followers are getting something out of this. And if so, please keep me updated about this, as I'm always interested to hear what all of this work does for other women.
I'll definitely link up all your contact details on the post. And thank you so much for giving us an hour of your time despite that you're traveling.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Very welcome. Have a beautiful day ahead.
Thank you. I'll see you around. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so I guess that's all for today. If you have any other ideas or questions or topics that you'd want me to cover in my future podcast episodes, don't forget to shoot me an email at couchwasabi@outlook.com or slip me a DM on my Instagram at jlian85. And I hope to see you on my next Live Well with Aromatherapist, Jerby Ko.